"Can I borrow $1 for the bus?" the poor girl whispered, clutching her torn backpack, unaware the man she asked was a CEO millionaire who could buy the entire bus company if he wanted. She only saw a stranger in a clean suit, not the powerful CEO millionaire whose decisions moved markets and shaped futures, but in that single fragile moment when a poor girl with nothing but hope in her trembling voice approached a CEO millionaire for $1. Fate cracked open in the most unexpected way. She wasn't begging for comfort. She was begging for survival. And he wasn't just a CEO millionaire in disguise. He was a man searching for meaning beyond boardrooms and billion-dollar deals. But why was a poor girl alone at that bus stop, desperate enough to ask a stranger, "Can I borrow $1 for the bus?" And why would a CEO millionaire who could drive away in luxury pause, listen, and choose to change her world instead of simply handing her $1? What pain was she hiding? What secret was he carrying? And what will he do next that will shock everyone? Rain hadn't fallen, but the sky looked tired, almost as tired as Lily. She hugged her backpack to her chest as she stood under the cracked bus shelter, the concrete beneath her shoes stained by years of footsteps and forgotten stories. Her jeans were frayed at the knees. Her sneakers, once white, had lost the battle to life a long time ago, and her eyes, though exhausted, still carried a stubborn flicker of hope. It was 6:42 p.m. The bus had just left 2 minutes ago. So had her last chance to get home without help. Lily checked her phone again. Battery 3%. Balance, bindy. No calls she could make. No one she could text. Home was 3 miles away, and the night would swallow her before she made it halfway. Her stomach tightened. Not from hunger, though she hadn't eaten since morning, but from fear. She could walk. She had walked before, but tonight felt unsafe, strange and unkind. Her fingers touched the fabric inside her bag where she kept her emergency bus money, except last night, survival had forced her to choose. Medicine for her little brother or fare for herself. She chose him. She always chose him. She blinked away the burn in her eyes. Don't cry now, not here. Not again. A sleek black sedan glided to a gentle stop near the curb. Something expensive. Something out of place here. The door opened and a man stepped out. Clean suit. Leather shoes. Crisp white shirt, neat hair. He didn't belong to this street, not even this world. He looked like success personified. Ethan Reed didn't notice her at first. His life had taught him to drown out background noise, the city, the stress, the constant demands. And yet today, even silence felt heavy. His hands lingered on the car door longer than necessary. He was restless, lost, a CEO millionaire who everyone saw as powerful, yet no one saw him at all. Money he had. But meaning, purpose? Those had slipped somewhere along the years of boardrooms, investors, silent dinners, and fake congratulations. His life felt expensive but empty. And tonight, he wasn't rushing home to comfort. He was running from loneliness. When Lily mustered her courage and approached, his first instinct was to brace. Street requests often came with angles. But when she whispered, "Can I borrow $1 for the bus?" something inside him paused. It wasn't the request. It was the voice, soft, real. Not demanding, not manipulative. Just tired. The kind of tired money can't fake. Her hands trembled slightly, not from the cold, but from vulnerability. She wasn't asking out of habit. She wasn't asking because she took asking lightly. She was asking because she had run out of options. Ethan studied her in the subtle way wealthy people do when they aren't sure how to respond. Her clothes weren't fashionably distressed. They were worn by circumstance. Her backpack wasn't an accessory. It carried her life. Her face wasn't desperate. It was resilient, just frayed at the edges. "Just $1, she repeated, bracing for rejection. Ethan slowly reached into his pocket, but then stopped. $1. It felt like an insult to everything this moment represented. Money couldn't fix loneliness, couldn't rewrite past heartbreaks, couldn't erase the pressure waiting on his desk tomorrow. But for her, right here, right now, one small act might mean survival. He looked deeper. She looked away, embarrassed by the silence. And suddenly memories hit him, of his mother once begging a stranger for bus fare when their lives had been just as fragile. Before fortune, before success, before the world called him genius instead of ignored kid from nowhere. He swallowed. "What's your name?" Her head lifted, surprised. "Lily. I'm Ethan." A bus drove by on the opposite lane, lights sweeping across them like a spotlight on a moment neither would forget. He reached into his wallet again, not for $1, but to choose something life-changing instead. But before he spoke, before he acted, he studied the girl whose request was so small in value, yet enormous in meaning, and somewhere between her trembling voice and his quiet ache for purpose, a story began. What if, he murmured mostly to himself, this isn't about $1 at all? Lily misunderstood. I'm sorry. It's okay. I shouldn't have asked. She started to turn away. Wait, Ethan said gently, and in that second, just before the universe shifted, his phone buzzed with a notification. Board expects you at emergency call in 20 minutes, duty called. But fate stood here. What would he choose? Ethan hesitated only a second before silencing the phone and slipping it back into his pocket. He couldn't explain it. Not to himself, not to the board, not to anyone, but something rooted him in place. The world of polished conference tables and ruthless investors could wait. Tonight he wasn't CEO Ethan Reed. He was a man at a bus stop, looking at a girl holding her life together with frayed thread and stubborn hope. Lily turned slowly when she heard his voice again, confusion tightening around her expression like a fragile shield she didn't trust anymore. She wasn't used to being stopped. The world usually let her fade, slip, disappear into sidewalks like gum stains people stepped on and forgot. You don't have to feel sorry for me, she murmured, her voice trying to be brave but cracking at the edges. I just need to get home. Home. A word that played differently in Ethan's mind. His home was glass, marble floors, silent walls, and empty space no one filled, not even him. Hers, he guessed, was likely crowded, noisy, tiny, yet lived in. Loved in, he wasn't sure which was better anymore. Lily, he said gently, I'm not ignoring you. He paused, searching for honesty instead of scripted corporate politeness. I'm trying to understand. Her brows pinched. It's just $1. No, he said quietly. It's not. She stiffened, insult flushing through her. So you do think I'm just asking for handouts? That hurt him. More than he expected. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She swallowed, the sting of pride visible. Forget I asked, she turned again. This time faster, more certain like she'd already accepted rejection as a familiar friend. But he stepped in front of her, not blocking her path aggressively, just enough to stop her motion. Hey, he said softly. Look at me. Her lashes fluttered like she was weighing whether trust had any place here anymore. Slowly, carefully, she looked up. For the first time, he noticed how young she truly was, and tired, and brave. Braver than most who hid behind power and money. Let me help, he said. I didn't ask for help, she whispered. I asked for $1. And I'm offering help instead. Her throat tightened. Why? He should have had a prepared response. He always did, but this wasn't business. This wasn't strategy. This was instinct, strange and powerful. Because once someone helped me when I had nothing, he said. Because I know what it looks like when someone is asking for survival, not charity. Her lips parted, stunned by that kind of truth from a man who looked like life had never touched him roughly. As if she could feel the sincerity tugging on the edges of the moment. His phone buzzed again, aggressive, urgent, the world clawing for him to return to his throne. But he ignored it. Lily looked at the car, then back at him. "You're not from around here." That almost made him laugh. "No, I'm not." "Then why stop here?" "Maybe I needed to." Her confusion softened into cautious curiosity. He motioned gently toward the shelter. "Let's stay here a moment," she hesitated. "I don't sit in strangers' cars." He actually smiled. "I wasn't inviting you in. Just stand here a little longer. Let me do something besides race through life for once." She blinked, hard, as if battling the instinct to distrust kindness, to refuse it before it turned sharp. A wind moved through the street, pushing a loose soda cup across the pavement. She hugged her bag tighter, protective. "You talk like someone who doesn't know what real problems are." Ethan looked down, exhaled once. You'd be surprised. She didn't know him. Not the nights he spent staring at ceilings wondering if success killed parts of him. Not the childhood where bus fare had been luxury. Not the mother who faded from illness because care cost more than they had. Not the hunger, emotional, not physical, that gnawed even now. But he didn't say that. He wouldn't cheapen her pain by comparing scars. "Tell me why you needed $1, he said quietly. It was a request, not a demand. Respectful. And that made her break more than interrogation ever could have. "My brother has epilepsy," she whispered, voice shaky like the truth cut coming out. "He had a bad episode last night. I used my last few dollars for his meds. Today I walked to school and to my shift at the diner and then here. I thought I had enough left for the bus, but..." She shook her head. "Math betrayed me, I guess." Ethan's chest tightened. The kind of ache success never prepared him for. Her sacrifices were the kind of battles money erased, yet made him envy because they had purpose, love, meaning. "I didn't want to ask," she said. "I hate asking." "I can tell," he murmured. Tears gathered but didn't fall. She wouldn't let them. She was too proud, too resilient, too used to holding herself up with nothing but grit. Ethan reached into his wallet again, and this time he didn't hesitate. He pulled out a $100 bill and held it out. Lily stared at it like it was dangerous. "I didn't ask for that." "I know. I can't take it." "You can," he said. "And you will. This isn't pity, it's respect." She stood frozen. Fear, gratitude, suspicion, hope, all crashed in her eyes at once. "I don't take charity," she said, voice tiny but fierce. He smiled, not condescending, just understanding. "Then don't, consider it a loan," her breath caught. A loan meant dignity, choice, not weakness. The car swerved wildly, skidding just a few feet from where they stood. A horn blared, sharp, angry, startling. Lily flinched, instinctively grabbing Ethan's sleeve. The driver shouted something crude, tires screeching as they sped past. Then silence again, shaken silence. Ethan steadied her gently, instinct protective, not corporate, not calculated, just human. "Are you okay?" She nodded too quickly, breath shaky. "Yeah, just startled." But in truth, she looked like someone who'd been startled by life too many times already. Ethan looked at her hand still gripping his sleeve, and Lily pulled back fast, embarrassed. "Sorry, it's okay," he said softly. "Reaction makes sense. Reaction." The word sat heavy, because her life wasn't built on calm. It was built on dodge, brace, survive. And in that moment, Ethan realized Lily didn't just need $1 or a loan. She needed air, safety, a chance to breathe in a world that never paused for her. He handed her the folded 100 again. Not like charity, not like a savior, just steady, respectful, almost humbly. "Take it, please," she hesitated. Not because she didn't need it, but because need in her world always came with strings, and she had spent her life avoiding hooks disguised as help. "Just a loan?" she asked. "Only if that's how you want it," Ethan replied. "You owe me nothing you don't choose to owe." Her eyes softened. That mattered. Choice mattered to people who rarely had any. She slowly reached out, then froze halfway when her phone buzzed weakly in her hand. 1% battery flashing. A text notification appeared. "Mom, where are you?" "Brian is scared. He keeps asking for you." Lily's breath wobbled, pain moving behind her ribs like a shutter slamming open. Ethan saw, not because he was prying, but because exhaustion doesn't hide well. "You should go," he said. "Your family needs you." "Yeah," she swallowed. I just hate that this is my life, that a dollar can decide if I get home to my brother. You're doing more than most ever will, he said. You keep showing up. That's strength, not failure. Her lashes fluttered like she wasn't used to praise that felt earned instead of patronizing. He glanced toward the street just as the next bus turned the corner, headlights cutting through dusk. There's your ride. She looked at the bus, then at him, then at the bill still in his hand. A slow breath. A trembling decision. She took it, not snatching, not ashamed, just choosing survival with dignity. I'll pay you back, she said again, voice steadier now. I don't care how long it takes. I believe you. The bus hissed to a stop. The doors swung open with a mechanical sigh. Lily stepped back toward it, then paused. Her voice was soft. Why were you really here? People like you don't end up in neighborhoods like this by accident. A small, tired smile lifted one corner of his mouth. Maybe I needed a reminder. A reminder of what? That money doesn't fix loneliness. That power doesn't equal purpose. That life still happens outside boardrooms. She blinked at the word boardrooms. It didn't fit him at the bus shelter. It felt borrowed from another universe. You sound like someone walking away from something big. Or toward something real, he murmured. Which one is it? I haven't decided yet. Her bus driver leaned impatiently over the wheel. You bored or not? She stepped toward the bus, then turned one last time. Ethan. He met her eyes. There was vulnerability there, mutual, unspoken. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me. And there it was, the thing success had starved him of. Being seen. Not as a title. Not as a wallet. As a person. You deserve to be seen, he replied. She climbed onto the bus quietly, took a seat by the window, and hugged her backpack tight. The bus jerked forward. Lily lifted her hand in a small wave, hesitant, earnest, young. Ethan lifted his in return. No grand gesture. Just acknowledgement, two separate worlds connecting for a breath in a universe that rarely lets them touch. As the bus pulled away, the weight of the moment lingered. The taillights faded into distance, and Ethan didn't move. He stood alone at the shelter, city lights flickering like restless stars. The $100 loan meant nothing to his finances, but the shift inside him? That was priceless, terrifying, necessary. He exhaled slowly as night wrapped around him. Silence again, different this time, less empty. More full of question marks he hadn't allowed himself to ask in years. His phone buzzed violently. Board demands. Missed calls. Urgent alerts. Ethan finally checked the screen. Cowell missed calls 13 messages board. Emergency vote in progress. Where are you? He stared at the ruthless words, jaw tightening. He had a company depending on him, a world expecting him, a life waiting to swallow him whole again. But for the first time in years, he didn't rush. Instead, he whispered to the empty street, to the night, to himself. I think my life just changed. He didn't know how yet. He didn't know why, but he knew who had sparked it. A girl asking for $1 and a man realizing one moment can redefine everything. The next morning arrived not quietly, but with the kind of urgency only life-changing nights create. Ethan woke earlier than dawn, not from alarm clocks or board-prepared schedules, but from something new. Restlessness fueled by meaning instead of stress. For the first time in years, money wasn't the first thing on his mind. A face was a voice. Can I borrow $1 for the bus? Lily. He sat on the edge of his bed, the skyline stretching beyond floor-to-ceiling windows like a kingdom he suddenly wasn't sure belonged to him anymore. Wealth used to feel like armor. Today it felt like a wall, one he finally wanted to break through. He had skipped the emergency vote last night. The board voted without him. There would be consequences. Headlines, questions, meetings, backlash. But none of it scared him as much as the hollow future he'd glimpsed before last night, one where power consumed purpose. He showered, dressed down. Hoodie, black jeans, sneakers. No suit. No armor. Today wasn't about being CEO, it was about being human. He left the penthouse without his driver. He found himself back near that same bus stop, not fully sure why, except instinct guided him. Maybe he hoped she would pass again. Maybe he wanted proof she was real, not a moment his lonely mind invented out of desperation. His phone buzzed continuously, board messages, legal updates, call immediately demands. He ignored them. Then he saw her. Lily hurried down the block, backpack bouncing, breath visible in the crisp morning air. Same worn shoes, same stubborn determination. But today, something different. The $100 bill folded carefully in her fingers. Like she held a sacred promise, she froze when she saw him. "You came back," she whispered. "So did you," he replied softly. She smiled, small, surprised by herself. "I thought maybe you imagined me." "I thought maybe you imagined me," he echoed. They stood for a second, unsure who should speak first. The world oddly quiet around them. "I didn't spend it," she said quickly, holding up the bill. "Not yet. I borrowed bus fare from my neighbor. I want to pay you back today." Lily," he interrupted gently. "You don't have to rush." "No," she said firmly. "I do. Because dignity matters more than comfort." He looked at her like she had just given the world's greatest business lecture in the simplest sentence. She tried to hand him the bill. He didn't take it. Instead, he pulled out a folded piece of paper, last night's revelation scribbled into action. A card followed it. Not a business card, but an address handwritten in ink. "What's this?" she asked, confused. "It's not charity," he said. "It's an opportunity. A real one. For you." She read the top line. Community Scholarship and Youth Support Fund, Lily Garcia. Accepted. Her breath caught. Her hands shook. The world tilted. I didn't apply for anything." "I know," he said. "I made it happen." She blinked fast. "Why?" "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "I know you walk miles for a future instead of quitting. I know you care for your brother like your life depends on it. I know strength when I see it. And I know potential when it looks me in the eye." Tears surfaced, unwilling but unstoppable. "This covers your college application fees," he continued, voice steady and full. "Tutoring if you need it. Monthly stipend. Bus pass, meal card. Medical support for your brother until you're stable. And a mentor." Her jaw trembled. "Why me?" "Because once someone did something like this for me," he said. "And because the world needs people like you to rise, not break." She shook her head slowly, like the dream was too big to swallow. "I can't accept all this." "Yes," he said, gently firm. "You can. And if I disappoint you?" "You won't. And if I fail?" "Failing isn't falling," he said. "Failing is not getting back up. You always get back up." Her tears fell then, not hopeless tears, but grateful, raw, life-granting tears. She covered her mouth, but emotion escaped anyway. A quiet sob into cold morning air. Vulnerability cracked open where survival had thickened walls for years. He didn't reach to hug her. He didn't cross boundaries. He just stood steady, letting her feel safe enough to fall apart in the best way. Finally, she wiped her face. "I don't have anything to give in return." "Yes, you do," he said. "A future. That's the only payment I want." She tried to laugh, but it broke into a hopeful choke. "I don't know how to live a future like that. I'll help. Not because you need saving, but because you deserve a chance." She looked at him different then. Not as a stranger, not as a miracle, but as a man who didn't treat her small. "Who are you really, Ethan?" she whispered. He hesitated, then answered the truth. "I run a company, a big one. I built it from nothing. And I lost myself in the climb, and now I think I found a reason to climb differently." Her brows drew together. "Was last night when you decided that?" "Last night," he said, "I decided $1 isn't the most valuable thing someone can give. Time is. Belief is." She held the scholarship paper to her chest like a heartbeat. "Thank you," she whispered, raw and real, "for seeing me when life only sees what I lack." "I didn't see lack," he said. "I saw fire." The bus approached again. This time she didn't look afraid of missing it. "Will I see you again?" she asked, tentative but hopeful. Yes, he said. Not because you need me, but because I want to see where you'll go. She stepped back. The bus doors opened. Then, courage glowed in her eyes instead of survival. Ethan. Yes? You didn't just give me bus money. What did I give you? A beginning. She boarded, turned, waved. But this time, her eyes didn't say thank you. They said, watch me. And as the bus carried her forward, Ethan exhaled, finally feeling alive. Because sometimes the most shocking thing a millionaire can do is stop chasing power and start changing lives.